Good morning, folks. Richard Fulmer here. So, as promised in a previous video, I said I was going to give a report back on my little vinyl fair venture just down the road here. In fact, about 500 meters down the road. Bit of a disappointment. There weren't that many traders. I think there were only about 5 traders. So subsequently, there wasn't much on offer, but I did manage to find 2 albums, which I'm going to chat about quickly. So this won't be a very long video. 2 records that I've actually been after for a while, although having said that, I completely forgot I actually had the one on CD already. But it's still cool to get the vinyl. So I'm talking about the band Marillion from the UK. Great sort of, I don't know what you'd call them, progressive pop. Progressive rock band, especially the early times of Marillion, when they still had Fish as the vocalist, and the 2 albums that I picked up both feature him as the vocalist. Vocalist at the moment is Steve Hogarth, and he's been there for many years. I think his first album was Season's End, but the 2 we're going to chat about today still featured Fish. So yeah, they borrowed a lot from the sort of 70s prog stuff, but still having their own sound, because these first albums came out in the 80s, so there was a lot of synths, a lot of keyboard work, very 80s sounding in the production, but borrowed a lot from the 70s Genesis in particular. Fish would often do up his face with a sort of face paint and what have you, the same way that Peter Gabriel did when he was still singing for Genesis. Obviously, there was a lot of influence from that band. And you can hear it in the music, although there's a lot of commercial sort of pop sensibilities as well in the music. So the first one that I picked up at the fair is their debut, Script for a Jester's Tear. Excellent album. As far as debuts go, this is probably one of the best, especially for the 80s. And some of the tracks on here would go on to be big favorites for the fans. The title track, Script for a Jester's Tear, He Knows You Know, and The Web. That's all on side 1. Not a very long album, although I think some of the tracks are quite lengthy, so hence there's not that many tracks. Side 2, Garden Party. That's a brilliant track with some amazing guitar work. I'll get to the other gentleman in the band in a minute. Chelsea Monday, that was a big hit. And Forgotten Sons. So this was released in 1983. And I think it was the same guy that did all their album covers. Really cool album cover there. And that's the back. Sorry for the glare. Coming into the afternoon here in Cape Town. Autumn day, stunning day today. So winter is definitely on its way. That's the inside, just the lyrics. And let's see who's in the band. Fish, like I mentioned, on vocals, or as it says here, voice. Mike Pointer on Tama kit, paste cymbals and percussion. So he was the original drummer. He would leave after this album and be replaced. And I'll speak about that in the next album that we have a look at. Pete Chihuahuas, I think that's how you say his surname. Rickenbacker 4000 bass, PV amps, Fender, Precision and Fretless, so he's on bass. And Steve Rothery, the amazing Steve Rothery on guitar, brilliant, very emotive player, a lot like David Gilmour or Andy Latimer from Camel, always reminds me of those 2 guys. So he's there on guitar, all different guitars, Fender Strat, Squires, 57 Strat, Marshall and Mesa Boogie amps, and then Mark Kelly on keyboards, a lot of keyboards on this album, very much their sound in the early days. Steinway grand piano, harpsichord, mini Moog, Roland, blah 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 blah. A lot of this means absolutely nothing to me. I'm not a keyboardist. Pro 1, a Yamaha CS15, and a Korg CX3 organ. So yeah, it's just the lyrics. Nothing much else to show you inside. There's the vinyl. This was released by EMI back in the day. And who was the producer here? Nick Tauber, I think it is. And what else did they say? Just a whole lot of thank yous. And yeah. Art direction and design, Joe, this writing is terrible, Morovsky, I think. And he did the first couple of albums. There we go. So that's the debut album by Marillion, Script for a Jester's Tear, brilliant album. Progressive pop, I suppose you'd call it, from the early 80s. Standout tracks for me, He Knows You Know, with some great vocals from Fish. He had a very distinctive voice. He eventually left the band and had quite a big solo career. Chelsea Monday and Forgotten Sons. Those are the three favorites of mine from this album. I want to thank Marwan, one of the traders who was selling there, and I was quite chuffed to get this. I've been after this for a while. So that's the first one. Carrying on with Marillion. There we go, Clutching at Straws. Very dark album. Fish, the vocalist, was going through a lot of issues at the time with drink and drugs. And a lot of the album, it's almost like a concept album, and it has to do with that, with his demons and what have you. And there's the back cover. Very interesting cover, this. And I think it's done by the same guy. And this came out in 1987. And this is a local release. This is produced by Chris Kimsey this time. And of the two that I bought, this one I probably prefer a little bit. There's the lyrics, a little bit more to the other one. Just some more lyrics, and there we go. There's the record. So what are the tracks? Well, let's just get through the members and the band here. Okay, let me just keep this out. Fish on vocals, Steve Rothery still on guitars, Mark Kelly on keyboards, Pete Travavas on bass, and Ian Mosley is the guy who joined them on drums and percussion, and he's still with the band. It's the same lineup presently, except obviously Steve Hogarth is the vocalist. Music by Marillion, arranged by Marillion, lyrics Fish and Derek William Dick, which is actually his name. I don't think he was christened Fish. Produced by Chris Kimsey. Backing vocals on Warm Wet Circles and Last Straw by Tessa Niles. Some great backing vocals from her, beautiful voice. And what else can I tell you? Sleeve concept by Fish, illustration and design by Mark Wilkinson. So it's the same guy, I think, as that other one. Right, the tracks. Hotel Hobbies. Brilliant track to start off with. Some great keyboard work and excellent guitar. I just love the tones he gets on his guitar. Beautiful stuff on here. Warm Wet Circles. That's another track that, you know, a lot of the music I've been finding, because I've been listening to these lately, and I've been finding myself, it's just like earworms. They stick in your head, and Warm Wet Circles is definitely one of those. That Time of the Night, in brackets, The Short Straw, Just for the Record, and White Russian. That makes up side one. As I said, it's not a happy album. This is not something you stick on at a party. It's definitely headphone music, but the lyrics are just so deep and meaningful, and yeah, you can see that he was going through a lot with this album. Of course, shortly after this, he would leave the band and do his own thing. I think there was still a live album that came out after this, The Thieving Magpie, I think that was called. Then we get to side two, and my favorite track on here, and one, as I said, sticks in my head, Incommunicado. I've been singing that for days, driving the wife insane. Yeah, so that's the first track. Torch Song, Slaint Math. I think that's Scottish Celtic. Not too sure what that means. I'm going to actually look that up. Sugar Mice, The Last Straw, and Happy Ending. Well, it's not really a happy ending, but there we go. Yeah, this is a great album. And like I said, I think I played this a little bit more than the other one, the debut. I need to have a little bit more history with that one, because that goes back all the way back to 83. But I remember when this came out, I was still in music retail. I just started, I think, 3 years into it, or 3 or 4 years into it. And I played this a lot in store. And yeah, just an album that grows on you. And well produced, amazing sound. And of course, the musicianship. This band, the musicianship is top notch. They definitely weren't just a pop band. These guys could duke it out with the best of the prog bands. And there's some great live stuff from this era on YouTube, and I'm trying to think where it was. Somewhere in the UK, there was a live concert that was filmed, I think around this time, 87, or maybe a year before. Well worth checking out. So there we go, not a massive haul, my Vinyl Fair venture. I got 2 records, but 2 that I've been after, and I've played them quite a bit since getting my grubby paws on them. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. The next video will be going back to my top trio. And seeing as the man only ever did 3 studio albums, it's going to be pretty easy, although how I rank them, that'll be the interesting part. Talking about Jimi Hendrix, that'll be in the next video. Take it easy out there. If you haven't done so yet, down below, give me a thumbs up. It'll be great. Any comments and about Marillion, or if you enjoy the band or not, and perhaps what you found recently at vinyl fairs, it'd be great to hear from you guys. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. It does help the channel. Have yourselves a great week. I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.